People often ask if they can have my Minecraft seed because they love the way my 13-year-old world is, but they want it without all of the art. But my seed can't be recreated since seed generation was so different back in 2012, and it's changed multiple times since that start, meaning you'd have to go back and use older versions, which Java does support, but sadly, the thing people love about the worlds is the tightness of the biomes and the weird features, which only generated because it was first on the Xbox and then later the Bedrock editions. So there's no way to get the seed, right? Well, I'll leave a link down below if you just want the final product, but today we're going to discuss what makes older world specials and what you'll actually have to do to get it yourself, because you could theoretically generate a world across the 5 different versions which my modern world uses, and in theory you'd get something pretty close to the end result, and that's what we're going to do today. So the reason we're doing this is that modern world generation has clear downsides. I think that if you've ever spawned on a mountain facing another mountain and all you can see around you is a couple of biomes, you'll realize that something nice about old worlds is that even if we load up my exact same seed on the modern Xbox 360, you'll get 3 woodland mansions, an ocean monument, a couple of villages, and a massive variety of biomes just within this tiny Xbox 360 sized world that just isn't matched by modern Minecraft. And so some people believe the reason why older worlds are played more is because of that world generation, which is optimized for fun rather than realistic vistas. And so I want to deliver, as close as possible, 1, a recreation of the seed as accurately as we can using the original platforms that it did generate on, and then 2, we're going to work out which platform will give you the closest to a seed that looks like mine if you want to try one for yourself with the same kind of smaller biomes but want to do something more unique for your next term long survival. So we're going to start in the first of the 5 editions we want to play in today, which is the Xbox 360, of course, which despite being a 20-year-old platform does still exist and can still play Minecraft, although as you can see right here it's capped just before the update Aquatic. This is the most modern version of Minecraft Xbox 360, and you can't go any further forward in time because that's when they discontinued it, but also if you have a digital edition you won't find it easy to go backwards because this isn't a supported Xbox 360 feature. But if you have a disc version of Minecraft, then theoretically, because it has all of the game files on it, unlike certain modern games, theoretically you could put this into a console that had never been connected to the internet and never played Minecraft, and you'd be able to play that older Minecraft version, which we can simulate by simply unplugging the internet and update files from our Xbox 360. So here we are. It's been a while since I've been on the OG 360, and man, I get some real nostalgia every time I'm here. But now that we're disconnected from the internet, I'm just going to go into my system files and then storage, and then I think it's going to be on my Microsoft hard drive, which is very full of games that I have not touched in a very long time, if we're being real. But if we scroll all the way down to Minecraft, then I can scroll down to M for Minecraft again, and I'll be able to find some ancient files on here. This is my original Minecraft Xbox 360 edition, the Xbox Live Arcade game I downloaded in 2012 on the 9th of May. Man, memories. And this is my title update file, which was updated just 6 years after. But if I move this or delete this, or even just unplug my hard drive, now I can simulate the good old days of either this original file, or, because I have the disc, the file that came with that. Now, the original Minecraft Xbox 360 version was very similar to Java world generation, and that was kind of in a bad way. It wasn't until Title Update 5 that it started to diverge, and so I'm actually going to specifically not play the arcade version, Title Update 1. We're going to play the disc version because it's closer to what we want. Okay, hard drive has been taken off. It's 60 gigabytes, which was a lot back in 2007, and now we take Minecraft Xbox 360 and put it right in that tray. Do keep in mind, if you have an Xbox 360 this old, it's like a screaming child. Sometimes you have to hit it for it to work, and so do keep in mind that is how the disc tray... every Xbox 360 I've seen from this era has the exact same problem, and so you do have to give it just a little hit every now and then, and that should allow us to load up that disc version of Minecraft. Oh, no, it thinks it's opening. But after a bit of playing around and realizing I had the title update twice, a black screen that says Xbox Live Arcade. Oh yeah, that's an OG message right there. Mojang, 4J Studios, and then Minecraft Xbox 360 edition, which, just to confirm, we're in an old version. Let's continue playing offline. Don't want to connect to the internet, to be clear. And, oh, look at the new items. The end has just come out. So that means that we're in Title Update 9, as I believe... Oh, look at the dark... It's so dark! But also, that does mean that this isn't going to be perfectly accurate. It's just as accurate as we can get with... Why 0? It's just as accurate as we can technically get right now. Okay, gamma goes all the way up to, we'll just say 75 for the sake of this video. Everyone actually plays at 100, but that's fine. But also, if we're being real, everyone wants to see what my exact same seed would look like if I loaded it up in this version. It should be exactly the same. There was no jungle biome added until TU14, I think. And so, creative, sure. More options. Host privileges, of course I want those on. Generate structures as well. But let's now look around the world. Which, wait, actually, I'll give it a better name. This is Ultimate World. Okay, so that took longer than I remember to actually load up a world. You know, just a fun reminder that your nostalgia is not always perfect. But here we are in a village? Also, my right stick isn't working for some reason. I can't look around. I can only move... What's wrong? I really do not know. Is my controller broken? Okay, well, this is a problem. But this is the village... No, this isn't recognizable at all yet. Oh, no, this is recognizable. This is my Xbox 360 world, but I'm spawned in an entirely different place. Wait, how does this happen to a controller? Yeah, I can hold it in, but not use it. Okay, here's how I'm going to find out if my stick is broken. We'll go into Southpaw, where I can look with the left stick and move and sprint with the right, which means I should be able to now look, but not move, but I just can't look. Why not? I've never experienced this bug before. But yeah, there's a desert here that seems incorrect, but we might just be facing the wrong way. I don't know if I am, because I'm... This is ridiculous. But this should be the desert that I replaced with torches. So if you can imagine this, but with a wall to the left and some torches to the right, this is my original seed, and most of the air I play around is still based on this. Is it my controller that's at fault? Game sensitivity is at 0%. Okay. Why were so many settings turned down to 0? Okay, here we go. Let's look around the world, which already kind of looked familiar when I couldn't look around, but now look at it. You can see that this is clearly my village, which is next to my desert, which I replaced all of the sand in with torches, and boy is it looking great. Also, you can see that just over here is where my... Oh, the ravine next to my my giant museum has gone. And then this is the little crack that I started collecting all of the letters in. And this is where my little, American goes. This is my slightly messed up village. Although right here in TU9, it's not actually messed up. It's a fully functional village, but the same village, just without the errors in it. And then, if we head over here, what should we find? Well, something pretty legendary. That's right, it's here. The classic cave that I decided to settle in, and the only thing that's different here is that instead of the outside of the cave having an ocean, instead there is a taiga biome and a swamp. Now, the swamp technically did exist there at first. I remember I had to flatten this. It's quite an easy biome to flatten, to be fair. It's flat, you just need to cover up the water, but that's why there's water underneath my super flat. This is the mountain I had to partially destroy, and then I built a bridge out of. That's where the sniffer goes, that's where the bee is, etc. It's super, super cool to see, but yeah, this is not a perfectly accurate rendition, because this little area here isn't right. The taiga biome does not cover all of this stretch, instead it's ocean, all the way up until back over here, on the other side, where it is correct again. Okay, I've looked around the entire world now, as you can see, and although it looked like the taiga might be the only issue, there's some other ones, and where better to prove that than with a shot of right here. You can see the mountains in the same place, you can see the rivers in the same place, but weirdly, the river takes a different direction and is an entirely different shape. This is a big problem that is also matched by some of the odder quirks being missing. For example, the stronghold is not in the same coordinates, and the giant hole of doom, the hole in Bedrock, which we assume is responsible for why there is a giant hole in my world to this day, that is also not found in this version. So some fixes mean that this world does not have all of the charm and all of the brokenness, but if you don't see brokenness as a charm, then you won't appreciate one of my favorite weird features still being here, because in this desert that I destroyed, but not in this version, you can see that there is still a half-destroyed village that exists because the world border in Minecraft specifically cuts you off no matter what is going to be there, leading to a village that is partially submerged and has a villager who has to leave his half house and his half crops, which I just find this to be beautiful, and I love that this is preserved. But yeah, we have ourselves a perfect world in 85% of the ways. It's just missing a bit of terrain, the stronghold, and that's good enough for now, I guess. And so it's worth comparing to the Xbox One edition, which is for a slightly later version. We're going to do the exact same thing on the Xbox One edition. It's a more recent piece of hardware, but the disc is similarly ancient, if not from the exact same time. And so we're going to take all of the update files that we have for Minecraft, put them on an external hard drive, and then simply unplug that drive and turn the console offline, giving it no way to update and no way to see any version that isn't from that disc. But to work out which Xbox One edition, the classic way in terms of major updates is to check the tutorial, and this is the tutorial that we get. This is the tutorial world for Title Update 14, also known as the Jungle and Iron Golems update, but that was an update that came out a little while after the Xbox 360, which should make it a particularly interesting one to load up our exact same seed. And so let's type in everything and let's see what we get. Okay, this looks absolutely nothing like my eventual world that I know and love, but it could just be that we spawned in a different area of it. Famously, this corner of my world, it was a desert when I generated it, but later became not a desert, which tells me that maybe this makes perfect sense. Is this old enough in Minecraft we can put the map in the offhand? Oh, there's no offhand to put it in. Okay, let's go looking around. Oh, yeah! It's the classic lava pit I spawned next to. That is still here. So that means if this lava pit is here, this hill and this river is where my house is, if you can picture that. If not, here's some fancy editing to help. Yeah, this is the same layout, just changed. I know I guess it's the same lava pit and the same terrain, just different biomes. Until we get over here, where actually, yeah, it's these classic hills. Oh, it's so nostalgic. It's so wild to then run into a giant jungle here. But this is a nostalgia. Look at this though. You can see this so perfectly, this little hill being where I made my little base. I want to just go break through it, but I'm trying to keep this world pure for all of you. So we'll just run around the map and complete it. See what it looks like. Oh, classic OG Minecraft console structure. Genuinely, I was so dumb. I used to assume this was a structure in its own right. I've realized years later that this is a village trying to generate and then just failing. And isn't it fun how many things you can just like kind of be close to knowing but just never quite get the full picture? This is my personal favorite example. Man, yeah, the west of this world near spawn, it just looks nothing like the world I loaded up originally. Like, there are very specific areas where the map is identical, and other than that, it is entirely different. I'm hoping the ocean or the cold biome is still here, but no! Endless amounts of jungle instead. So I think that this isn't very useful, and so I'm going to do something a little weird. I'm going to take all of the map that has jungle and just disregard it, I guess. If I'd have loaded up this seed on the... If I'd have first gotten Minecraft Xbox with the disc version on the Xbox One, I don't think I would have liked it very much. I think I'd have said, or I wouldn't have liked the seed very much. I'd have said, yeah, the seed everything doesn't actually have a very good mix of everything. It's all warm or mountainous biomes. There's not a single cold one in sight. It's a bad seed in this version. Glad I didn't... Glad I started earlier than this. So, fairly predictably, out of the two versions, the Xbox One copy might have some features that the Xbox 360 doesn't, but simply because the Xbox 360 is older and closer to those initial conditions, it has far more of the original world, and so as a result, there's nothing much that we can take from this, besides knowing, thank God I didn't make my world in this version. But what I decided to do after this was load up the exact same world, but as a large world type, and so you can see me here going outside of that original world border to see if any of the terrain here matches up maybe, but the simple answer is no, it did not. However, I realized at this point, because of the reset nether function, my nether has nothing in common with that original edition, and so I figured that this nether, from the slightly larger world size, is much closer to my real nether. This isn't my nether at all. There's nothing in... Oh, actually, no. This is the Solsan Valley that I built a temple in. This is... Oh, this is my nether. I just don't recognize it. Whoa, it's changed so much. But this is actually an accurate version of my nether. So this is the Nether Fortress. Okay, so let me just right now start by conceding that I'm doing this live, but because you're watching it as a video, this might as well be happening, 3 days after, and I've just spliced the footage in. But I'm at 4141. You can check my map. That's how coordinates work back in these days. And now I'm going to go to those exact same coordinates in my my world that I'm currently playing, just AFKing at a blaze farm. And this is what it looks like. Can you see? There you go. Okay. This is the exact same spawner, but now I've put some bars on it, and I've made it so that, I can actually capture the blazes. But it's the same nether. Look at this fortress here, and then let's get to safety, and then let me show you the same nether, but over here on my Xbox, because wow, it's the same fortress! So this is a cool find. There is a value to me having come onto the Xbox One, which is nice, but, oh... This is not... I don't think I have this side of the fortress. So it's not a perfect copy of my nether, but it's a much better copy than I imagine we're getting from the Xbox 360. Because it will go all the way until the bedrock wall. Yeah, that's right. There's a bedrock wall over here. This is surreal to see. It's weird because with the new Netherrack texture, it feels like a different biome. But I really do just have 2013 Nether generation. If you're curious as to why it's 2013 and not 2012, or, why it's actually much later than that, it's because of that setting you might have seen earlier called Reset Nether. You used to be able to reset your Nether, and it was basically required to get certain things. And so I did reset my Nether, I think a couple of times. Not as much as I reset my end, but still some. And so this is what my Nether looks like. It's two Nether fortresses, like, this close together. No, it's the same Nether fortress. I'm just weird because my Nether fortress doesn't go this way out. I must have a bug that led to my Nether fortress breaking. It's the only explanation, right? And so we did at least get something from this Xbox One edition, Expedition. It was the extra extraction of the Nether, which was to my expectation and my satisfaction. The important thing here is the fact that we now have two delightful worlds which we could combine together to move into phase 3 of this plan, which ultimately is going to be getting that expanded Xbox One edition vibes. This was the plan, simply was to put it into the Xbox One and hope that it worked, but sadly, this is a version that is so new that it doesn't give me a good old world type, but also so old that it doesn't give me the new biomes that I need, so we're going to update the Xbox One and then move our world file over, which should be nice and simple. Okay, here I am on Xbox One, but with my Xbox 360 Edition terrain. As you can see, it looks very delightful, but I did decide to make one change. I figured, given that it was 85% accurate, and it was mostly the giant snowy tiger that was wrong, I figured that given how much of this was right, maybe I could roll the dice on just loading up in the modern Xbox One that little strip of terrain that's meant to be ocean, but for some point was tiger, and then an older Xbox One, it was the jungle. I wanted to see what it would be in modern Xbox, and if there was a chance of being an ocean. And let's just say what I got instead was a real delight, because I got some mountains here that I've never seen before, I got some jungles like before, and then wildly enough, a tiny savanna, a tiny desert, and an entire woodland mansion. This represents the insanity of the Xbox 360 edition best. I had a strip of land, we're talking like 50 by 100 blocks, like the tiniest partition of a world, and yet still we got a woodland mansion, because that is just how this works. But we still do have, all importantly, this little strip of land here, and I think that being a desert, savanna, and jungle is better than being a taiga, man, almost as good as being an ocean. If you wanted to, you could flood this. But isn't this just wild to look at? If you don't think the answer is yes, then I think that we have, we haven't got the same broken, but we've made a new form of broken which makes even less sense. And that is what this is all about. Why is it such a hard border, but then still has Savannah chunks here? I don't know, but I love it. So here is my better Xbox One edition. Now I'm going to do something a little zany, and we're actually going to expand the world borders to see what is past this point. As you'll all know, this is my big flat land. It's not flat though because of natural terrain. I built it, and past that flat land on this side is a jungle, and I think a tiger as well. And if we go past on the west side, which as we all know is the best side apparently, if we go to the west side where there's fewer fumes, then we should be able to find a TU-31 world. Or, let's be realistic, it was a savanna and it was a dark oak biome. I wanted both of those trees, and they were found to the east here of my big Nevraki mountain. So let's see if we can't find those. Because right now, this is an Xbox 360 size world, but any Xbox One world, even one from a while back, what you can simply do is go into the settings and say, I would like a larger world. I think I picked medium initially, I hope I'm right, and I didn't decide to overwrite the world edges to make it smooth. I wanted that border, and I have it to this day. So let's see how it looks. Okay, here is our fuller inner map explored. Now let's go check out the outer map, and oh, wait a minute. I think this is accurate. It looks accurate to me, at least. Again, if you can imagine this with a giant toy cat statue and a whitey dollar building, and even, oh yes, this is where I built my house and have my portal and my, yeah, it's all actually looking correct. So let's now go in and explore these chunks, and that is phase 3 of our plan. We've done Xbox 360, we've got our Never from the Xbox One, although merging that might be tricky later, but now this later copy of the Xbox One has such old generation because of how long ago they decided to cut it off to make players play Bedrock, that thankfully, the one benefit of that decision is that, one, I can actually put this in my offhand, not automatically, but I can, and then we can get terrain around the edges of my world that matches this. This is exactly what I was expecting, and it's great. Yeah, it's 1-to-1. This is where I let my live chat decide to make a beautiful flower forest. I mean, it's not a beautiful flower forest, but it's beautiful in its own way, and here you can see it before those beautification changes. Over here is, yeah, it's so perfect, actually. I guess they never changed the world generation. Here is a woodland mansion that wasn't there, to be fair, but we'll just accept that those are appearing by themselves anyway. Here should be an ocean monument that I've killed the guys from in my world, but is it here anyway? It looks like the answer is no. Yes! Okay, it's there anyway. We've got a lot of the same terrain here, which is actually really impressive. Okay, so here's the moment of truth. This is where I have my big stronghold portal entrance. Is that where the eye offenders are going to lead me? Oh no, it's going a little bit further past it. Oh yeah, I guess they must have moved end portal. Wait, no, maybe not. Okay, so this, I think like exactly here, is where I dug down. I have the big exposed end portal. Let's see what we find when we do it here. Again, obviously going to create mild issues for ourselves. Oh, yeah! The end portal's even in the same place. That is truly impressive. Oh, we've even got the tiny little flower forest that has caused me issues because of older sized biomes. Man, yeah, I didn't realize just how long world generation stayed the same, because they changed it quite a few times between here and the modern age. And you'd expect that would be like a really old school Minecraft thing to just decide, you know, screw it, let's change the entire world gen algorithm. But apparently they did that recently. So yeah, here are my weird islands. They do have more random corners cut out of them, but it's still looking good. Let's now fully explore this map then, to make sure that it all fits in where I remember. Okay, I thought this was all fun and games and wins, but as you can see, there is the opposite. For some reason, this terrain, that's ocean in my current world, as you can see from my map that we made for the GeoGuessr video, if you look at that, it's meant to be ocean, but instead it's a big hill instead. Looking at this, it's perfectly accurate, like shockingly so, and that should mean that if we go north of here, we'll find a savannah village, the one that's famous for being a, what's the polite way to say this? A not very nice man from the mid-1930s/40s village. So let's go over there and let's see if we get an old-style village. So yeah, I've got to say, I'm impressed with the world chunk generation speed, even on an imported world, but here is that exact same village, with the exact same world gen around it. Okay, we'll give some serious points to the Xbox One edition, and I have to say that I was expecting to have to do some crazy retroactive solutions involving Java. I'm so glad the Xbox One just has me covered here. I don't understand why it's looking like this, because when I searched up a medium world earlier, it looked nothing alike, But right now, we're getting, like, major landmarks rebuilt for us. Like, this is where my woodland woe mansion goes. Here are the fake islands I built, the big... there's a lot of similarities, except I think not even just similarities. I think it's the same terrain. It's more the same than it is different, which is shocking, but I think I could say that all the time. So I'm going to try and fill out a decent amount of the boundaries here with this old terrain, and then we're going to do the simple process of converting over to the Bedrock version, where we then have to make a few more changes. Can you believe that the Xbox One edition still has its leaderboards running? And can you also believe that I only mined, back in the day, the tiny sum of 36,000 stone blocks? Terrible. Only 12 clay blocks? Really is saying something, isn't it? Look at that. Froggy Fellow here has mined 0 clay. He's mined more blocks than me, and he's not seen a single clay block in his life. Which really says something, doesn't it? Anyway, now that we've explored our world as thoroughly as we can, making a nicely filled out map here, let's convert it to the Bedrock edition. I'm not expecting too much difficulty. There was so much difficulty! I cannot try to underplay this. Moving a save from the Xbox 360 to Xbox One, despite it being over 6-year-old architecture on both ends, works perfectly. For some reason, 4J are paying for that cloud service. Sadly, it's not the same case on the PlayStation and the Nintendo Switch, but you can still move saves flawlessly between these platforms, and then it should be a simple thing to get it over to Bedrock, but it's not. First of all, the new UI doesn't have a sync old world button, so you have to go into the settings where there's a buried menu where you can technically find it, and then you should be able to sync your old worlds, except no, ha ha ha, did you think that was going to be easy? You fool! Because here's the problem, Xbox actually has a cap to the number of saves you can have. That's right, there's a hidden storage cap on saves, which says that if you have saves beyond that point, it just refuses to save data anymore. This is really fun with Minecraft, which has multiple gigabyte saves, if you're me, and so it was refusing to let me do anything. I did everything I could, even deleting all of my Xbox One worlds, knowing that my safest world, this very same world that I'm trying to show you today, knowing that was safe backed up as well as in the cloud on Realms, I figured it would be worth deleting everything to make this happen, but even after that great sacrifice, nope, storage is full. I emptied my storage and Minecraft is still saying it's full, but then I just decided to delete even more storage. All of my saves had to go, just so I could actually access the one 4 or 8 megabyte, let's be fair, save that I wanted to, and then do you know what happened? Minecraft Bedrock crashed while converting the file. It crashed a couple of times actually, and after a while I began to conclude, like, oh no, they haven't been updating this for a while because how many Xbox One edition players are there? And I figured, what has worked for this in the past? And one of the things I remember being weird is that the Xbox One did not like having files from the Xbox 360 that hadn't had all of the chunks re-explored, and so I went round the entire map again just to be sure, and do you know what happened? Thank God. We finally have it. We are here. Minecraft has, we have our file on the Bedrock version, and to get it out of the Xbox One, we have to buy Xbox Live Gold, because you can't use Realms, even if you pay for your subscription, unless you also pay Microsoft to use the online service on their system. Even though you're not going to play it online, you're going to play your single-player version of a Realm, because that's what I use my Realm for. I pay a subscription to host my world, and now I need to pay a subscription to use that world, but it's okay, because I think we're just going to do it, and everything's going to work. Like, I really just can't believe that there's not only these giant red banners telling you multiplayer is disabled, but there's a button here saying fix now, and then if you try to go to your realm, again, I am paying for this, there's also the big fix now, and everything out is grayed out. I get that they are required to not let me play online without it, but to have online be such a fundamental part of Minecraft, and then also realize that they're on platforms where this is the case, they should have just built a special version that's like, oh yeah, of course, offline is the default if you don't have an Xbox Live subscription, because a lot of people don't want to pay a yearly subscription to play Minecraft. But maybe I'm just being a boomer old man about this. Anyway, let's fix that now, I guess. How much do we want to spend? The answer is a lot. Actually, never mind, my first month is £1, and I'm not going to need this more than a month, so let's go for it. Oh, never mind. What does that mean? Why is the Xbox full of these errors? I just want to join for 1 month, £1. You can't do this to me. Okay, who are we kidding? Of course they can. I bet if I was going in at $22.99 a month, it wouldn't suddenly become unavailable. Yeah, I'm in! With the voice and everything. Oh, I can even play on London. I mean, I can't help but be curious what playing on London would be like. Let's join. I'm gonna make sure I clarify that I know there might be anything inside this world. Yeah, I have no idea why people don't play on their Xbox more when it's so beautiful. Okay, let's find out where in London this is. I should be able to recognize it pretty quickly. Okay, so that's HSBC. This is a 4-lane road. And then, so this vibes like it's Canary Wharf, and that's the river. Oh, look, there's Tower Bridge. So I guess if that's Tower Bridge, then this is Canary Wharf. I was right with the HSBC building, which means this is the A13. And then who knows what's on the other side of that. But then over here is the O2. Wonderful. Okay, well, this was a nice world to hop into. I like that it's, like, tightly done. Rather than, like, getting a lot of stuff all over the place, it's a very small world, kind of reminiscent of why Xbox 360 size worlds are so great. Everything's close together and visible. You can see the labor of love here, like at City Airport. But let's take off onto our realms, where we can now take our world off the closed-loop ecosystem and get it into modern Bedrock. Okay, here we are on the PC, and as you can see, the world has made it here with me, which obviously means there's a couple of things we've got to now do. There are just some basic settings everyone wants, like show coordinates, days played. Both of those can go on. Interestingly, the days played have transferred over from this Xbox One world. I guess they must have fixed that bug at some point. But yeah, you can actually see right here that we have now this world on Bedrock, and it's really, really cool. I was expecting to have to do a little bit of Java messing around, like convert it to Java to do 1.16, but I think actually from here, all terrain should be the same regardless of version, and so I think we're good. We've got lots of weird quirks from this Xbox 360 generation, such as farm things that are in the corner, such as my half-destroyed village over there, such as this random little, like, chunk that heads down. All of these fun quirks of my Xbox 360 world have been preserved, and even better, there's a couple of quirks that are from my world, but there's a few that have been introduced, like, here is a snowy taiga into a swamp, into a roof forest, into a plains, into a birch forest, into a mountain. I love seeing stuff like this, and I think this is what a lot of people argue they want from 360 generation, so even though we couldn't get it perfectly accurate here, I'm glad we at least got something interesting to go with it. But most importantly, we have a beautiful cave, perfect to start a house in, I might say. So part 4 of this plan is not just to gawk around at the world, but instead it is to do something actually kind of interesting by itself, which is to take that nether and to add it to this world, but then also expand it. So that's going to be some steps, I guess. So for a recap for anyone who didn't see it, this is a close approximation of my nether, but with the classic Bedrock problem of too many mobs. I'll just accept that for now, it's fine. But it does still have my blaze spawner over here, which is cool. It still has most of this structure, but unlike my version of this nether fortress, it actually has the entire thing functional, so there's some extra blocks here, which is a nice bonus, I would say. Also, because I fully went up to the border in my Xbox One Edition world, there should be the Bedrock world, which has been properly converted into Netherrack. Although only for the most part, you can see that some of it's been destroyed here. And interestingly, the random Bedrock floating walls have also been removed. So it looks as though they did take this and then actually fix the bugs that happened with early on worlds like mine. And obviously they couldn't retroactively fix out the Bedrock, but this wall does look much better. But yeah, we've now got the ability to have a nether which will have brand new biomes. I mean, I assume if we go this way long enough, we should find a new biome of some form. There we go, we do. But we can now have new biomes while still having our base nether be exactly the same as that Xbox 360 version, including this classic Soul Sand Valley biome. That's not meant to happen on any Bedrock or Java edition. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a second one of those just behind my portal over here. Am I correct about that? Let's find out. It looks as though we are, yes. The Soul Sand Valleys have been retained, and apparently they spawn wither skeletons too. I don't know what's responsible for this bug, but I like that it's here, I guess. Why are there wither skeletons there? I don't know. Now, I am kind of curious. One of the weirdest quirks of my current world is as you get to the border on this side, it becomes an overworld biome for a bit. So your render distance gets wider, and regular mobs can spawn, like creepers and stuff. Will that happen over here? It looks as though... Oh, okay, so I'm not at the wall yet. It looks as though the answer is... no? It's a weird biome. Something is wrong with the fog, but I think it's not quite overworld yet. Also, you get some free Netherrack, so that's a big win. Oh, wait, sorry, not Netherrack. Ancient Debris. Much more valuable than Netherrack, I've got to say. Okay, so there's some really odd quirks to the terrain here, but I think the Nether has successfully come about. Now, here's the fun thing. For part 5, I was thinking we'd have to explore the overworld just to make sure that those bottom chunks generate, but assuming that there haven't been any changes into the underground between now and when you watch this video, it will be exactly the same. And I think there's a small chance that if a brand new structure does come out, that you might actually want that one. And so, by the way, I have no idea how this portal ended up here. Okay, so there's a portal linking problem, I guess, that we should think about, and also some grass that probably needs to be put back. But here you can see we have managed to create something delightful, and I cannot stress how wild the journey has been up to this point, but it is oh so cool to see. However, the journey isn't over yet because we still don't have a file that's out there for the public, and obviously one of those steps is going to be converting to Java. But before we do that, something fascinating you might not know is just how close Minecraft Console followed the Java development. In the early days, it used to be really simple to have a world from Java to console because they would just simply use the same world gen. 1000 by 1000 was seen as enough space for anyone, and so I figured it'd be fun to go back to 1.0, just like we are right now, and see exactly what my seed gives you here. There's no world borders, but will the terrain be anything like what it used to? Well, I mean, for a start, we spawn in the right place, this big forest, that actually then isn't surrounded by anything else I recognize. Oh yeah, maybe not. Maybe the dream is dead already. There's an ocean here that I don't recognize. Everything's very grainy. Do you see what I mean by that? But those are definitely the mountains beside my house. Where are we? Oh, here is the lava pit that I believe I saw all that time ago. And here is that same river from the Xbox 360 edition. So as you can see, this is the Java edition 1.0 full release version of the everything seed. And outside of looking really grainy and weird, you can see how it has resulted in the exact same seed. And this gets me curious, will I find those missing oceans here? Because if so, I think we need to transplant them right on top of the existing thing. But no, it's Tiger. There must have been some really funky bug that took place here. By the way, if you want to see something fun, just in case you're curious, because I know that you are, something we can do by using the Java edition is showing you how it is that I have a desert that's not a desert. When we talk about biome shifts, it's kind of confusing if you're not if you haven't been playing Java or console since back in these days. Also, you literally can't fly in creative. Who is this for? But let me show you something fun, because here is my the area of my world where I built my big boat and all of this other stuff. There's a missing lake for it, but otherwise the terrain looks the same. But something that you might find interesting is this village, and indeed, to the right of it there, this desert biome. The reason I bring up these as being so interesting... Well, actually, you know, no. I have one more thing just for myself. Do you think there'll be a village right at the edge of the world there that, like, is meant to generate... No! That is a Minecraft Xbox 360 exclusive quirk. There is no village here on Java... So just know you've got the best version of this seed. But something you might not realize is that because of the move from, I think it was called like LWGJL or something, because of the move to 256 block tool worlds, they decided to also reconfigure the seed engine. But instead of having backwards compatibility, i.e. saving where your biomes were before, this didn't happen, meaning if I shift from 1.0 here out to... Oh, did you see that? There was a little conversion screen where it said it was converting to Anvil, the new format, and now instead of being in a desert, I'm in a... Wait, how does that make any sense? It converted the blocks underneath me. That's not what I wanted it to do at all. Unless I'm in a different part of the world and it just forgot. What? Where's... How did that just happen? Is this the right world? I mean, yeah, it's... So, I didn't know that this is how it worked for the Java edition, but apparently if you hadn't built any chunks there, it would also convert your existing preloaded in part of the world. And so you end up with craziness like this, where your entire world can shift underneath your eyes. Which does not make any sense at all to me. Anyway, though, this weird backward porting that what I have to assume is an error. That can't be intentional. But this weird backward porting, also look at the creative menu, it's so wild back here. But this weird porting off the Java edition between versions makes me say that if you are looking to use Java to simply find your own small biome seed, what I would recommend doing is starting around the time of 1.2.5, if not sometime even before, if you're willing to potentially deal with the downsides. Oh yeah, look at that. You can see there's the same lava pool I spawned next to, but now all of this is lakes. That must be what happened to my world to cause weird issues. Like, areas that I hadn't actually simulated properly must have turned into this, and that's how my river got so wide. But anyway, I think that something that is worth seriously looking at is which version of Minecraft Java you play, because as you go further back, the biomes definitely were smaller and designed to simulate, you know, like fun gameplay more than realistic vistas. I still don't know how I necessarily feel about this change, but what I would keep in mind... Oh yeah, literally, the tiger that was next to my house when I loaded up this same seed a minute ago have changed in front of me because I didn't place any blocks there. So I'm guessing at some point they just changed again into a lake or an ocean biome? I'm so confused at this point. But what I can definitely say is it doesn't look like there's a way to get that back. Also, for some reason, my skin isn't loaded in this version. Also, this is... I'm sorry if you don't like this, but look at the way the character moves in relation to the crosshair. It makes me uncomfortable. Anyway, speaking of things that make me uncomfortable, I think that now it's finally time to do our last little step of wrapping up both the download, but also the kind of roundup of all of these different systems. Oh, this sound is so noisy. But the wrap up of all of the different systems of world generation to work out which one is best for you. And so we're going to have a lot of different options to mention here. Okay, so I know this very unscientific way of using paint is going to get some comments of people saying it's unprofessional. So to make sure that I don't get comments about that, I've decided to give you something else to comment on as we go into the pros and cons of each of these 6 different ways that you could generate a world. So if we start with ease, well actually, should we, let's imagine we have little boxes here. So if we start with ease, which will be right over here, then you can imagine that we get a real big positive, a real up arrow if you will, for the Java Modern and Bedrock Modern form of world generation, because it's really easy to get your hands on. However, you obviously get big biomes, but that's not that big of a deal here. It's also really, really easy to get your hands on the Java 1.0 and even Java 1.2.5. So we'll use a big arrow and just share it across those. It's also somewhat easy to get your hands on Minecraft Xbox One Edition or Xbox 360. You can buy them in lots of different ways, whereas it can be a bit trickier for many to get their hands on the Bedrock version, the old and the... I think an old Bedrock version right now is not possible because of the way they do the new launcher, and the Xbox 360 edition has similar concerns. You can do it. It is out there if you're willing to do the stuff yourself, but you need to either find a disc secondhand somewhere, or you need to actually know the files. So there's definitely a different difficulty for doing this. When it comes to the quality of the world gen, I think this is an important factor too. Quality. I think that this is a kind of subjective thing, but when it comes to how big the biomes are, modern Bedrock generation is pretty decent at giving you a lot if you're willing to go really far. You do, in my opinion, have to travel a bit too far, but that is an upside for some, but those people aren't making this video. So I would say modern Bedrock has a bit of a, and modern Java, the 2 actual versions everyone is playing, I think they do have a bit of a quality problem under the terms of this video, whereas Java 1.0 and 1.8.2 don't have those. 1.2.5 definitely does start to creep into this field. I guess we'll give it a little half one. Whereas Bedrock Old World Gen has charms, very much the same half problem, whereas the Xbox One edition of Modern Terrain still is absolutely solid. I know I'm biased in saying this, but this whole video is about bias. Got some problems with it? Well, please don't let me know, they'll hurt my feelings. But I also really like old Java World Gen, solely for that same nostalgia. As for the, how well it actually works into modern Minecraft, so we'll call this portability, I think that really what I've learned from this video is that if you want to port things over to modern Minecraft, you are going to have all sorts of funky issues with that. So I would say modern Bedrock, modern Java, real strong plus, because it's got this great portability. You can move files between the two editions, as you're going to be seeing me do even for this Let's Play world. That's a big plus. I think that Java 1.0 and 1.8.2 have the exact same upsides. You can really easily port them over. The Bedrock old versions are really easy to port into modern Bedrock, so that also gets a plus. Whereas, sadly, it does have to be said that even if you have a modern Xbox One edition, if you have a world save on there at all that is big, or a world save anywhere on your platform, apparently GTA 6 and Skyrim can cause these issues too because they can have ballooning file sizes, you can get yourself trapped where you have to delete your files to move your files, and that doesn't actually... I think that's a nightmare, so I think this is going to be a huge no for me, a little hexagon here, and I think that when it comes to the Xbox 360, it's even harder. We are still at the mercy of 4J, keeping those servers they used to upload it alive, and massive credit for them to doing this. To be fair, there's a lot of players, but massive credit for them to still keeping this up. There's no profit in it for them. They are just maintaining a great service for the community. But it's still at least just as difficult as the Xbox One, because you still have to deal with the Xbox One and Series S. They both use the same operating system that is just a nightmare to get things off. And so looking at this, you can see, using my very scientific method, that if you're looking for a old style world, unless you really love the old Bedrock version, I would not recommend this. If you are looking for a really old nostalgic experience, the Xbox 360 can work for a little longer, but it will cause you a headache, and I would just say, get yourself a disc if you really value this quality, but otherwise, I would say that if you're looking for that old kind of feel, whether you played console or not, the clear winner here, the only one to get 3 points out of 3 in my highly scientific method, is obviously Java 1.0. I think that there are some concerns about getting it to work in modern versions. It might be if you might have to fly around the world a few times, place some blocks. So you might have to work out how to get those chunks to save. But if you can get a Java 1.0 world into the modern age, you will have a world that looks mostly like a console one. And then once you, as long as you keep it nice and small, then you can expand it to then get your hands on all those big things. And I would say this is good enough for most players, unless you specifically want those mansions. And you know we want those mansions, which is why I have gone through all the work of taking a world from this, but also a bit of this, and also the tiniest bit of this, although actually kind of from the past of this. I have done all of that, and that world is going to be converted now. So this tool is Chunker, and it's the one that is most commonly used. It was actually officially a Minecraft tool at one point, although now it's made under Hive Games, under an exclusive license to Minecraft, but it's not available on the web. But anyway, Chunker is the tool that is used by many teams to convert their worlds from Java, where they make them to Bedrock, but you can also use it to go the other way, and so just in case anyone has made it this far in this video, I just want you to know that we did in fact convert it, and it did go well, so here we are able to play our world on both Bedrock and Java, and so now you too, if you have been thinking this entire time that the one thing holding you back from making a brand new world is that you don't have the world, I have provided that for you, and doesn't that feel nice? Except actually, let's be real with ourselves. As fun of a conclusion as that would be, and as nice as it is to imagine that yes, this is the thing holding people back, and I want to see you downloading this world if that's for you, I think that actually the thing that is true is that it's really, really hard to commit to a long-term world for certain people, because the allure of like, well, what if I started again on a brand new seed is always going to appeal. And so I think that although this is a great start, and I think that although you now know how to get your own one, if you want to build your own scene from somewhere, I think that ultimately you do have to deal with the underlying question of why it is that you don't have the long-term world. Is it the funky terrain that exists today? Is it the lack of the smaller biomes and the fact that everything is so different and all over the place and it's hard to actually find what you want? Or is it indeed something deeper inside of you? I think always it's worth asking, do you just need this next piece of gear, this next piece of equipment, this next YouTube video, or is there something better you can do? As a YouTuber, I think this is a hard thing to say because I should be saying, oh yeah, I bet the thing that will solve it is one more YouTube video, but it is always worth asking, if there is a gap between what you do and what you want to do, you have to change one of those two things. Either you change what you want or you change what you're doing, but you can't continuously live with a gap in between because that's what causes dissatisfaction. And so I am dissatisfied with this video, but are you? Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in those smaller biomes. Hopefully, if you do enjoy those, make sure to send me them for a review. I would love to see that. But with that said, that's all from now. Now it's all on you. Goodbye.